So this is pretty fun to look back on. On December 6th of 2022, I tweeted out, "Bring me ones," meaning I wanted to buy more CleanSpark stock in the $1 range. And I actually was able to do so, but at the time people were calling me crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. So I think what I've learned most is to trust my own research and my own due diligence, and you guys should do the same. I know a lot of you that follow my channel have been investing in CleanSpark for a very long time because I am the longest tenured CleanSpark YouTuber out there. You can't find anybody that's been talking about CleanSpark longer than I have. But since this post, CleanSpark stock has actually gained more than 800%. Today, CleanSpark's trading for close to $18 a share, which is just crazy. I held CleanSpark back when it made its most recent run up to around $40 per share, but it's just been in the doldrums so long that it's hard to even picture CleanSpark trading in the double-digit stock price range. And over the past month, it's up 130%. Absolutely crazy. And I honestly think the best part of all of this has been seeing you guys succeed and you guys make money. People have been buying homes and all of this stuff, helping out their families. It makes my day to see that. So I just want to congratulate everybody that has held through the tough times with CleanSpark stock. And, you know, I'm going to give myself a little shout out here. I don't usually do this in the beginning of my videos because I don't want to waste you guys' precious time, but please join my membership. It supports me tremendously. It helps me avoid all the crappy sponsorships. And the bottom line is, all of the members that have been in my Discord server for the past couple of years have made enough money to cover the cost of the membership for the rest of their lives and then some. In fact, I have a 100% refund policy where if you don't find value in my membership, I will give you your money back. It's a no-risk investment and it helps me out tremendously. So if you're interested in that, hit the join button located right next to the subscribe button or hit my Patreon link in the pinned comment. And also, it seems like every time I do a CleanSpark video, I gain a lot of new subscribers. So if you're new here or returning and not yet subscribed, please subscribe down below. Without further ado, let's get into talking about CleanSpark, their expansion, and my updated price target for the company. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand how this works. If the price of Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin mining stocks are going to go way up. And if the price of Bitcoin goes down, Bitcoin mining stocks are going to go way down. Now, over the last 6 months, Bitcoin is up 75%. We're trading at $51,600. Lots of people didn't think this would ever happen again. So before anything, I want to acknowledge that yes, CleanSpark is a phenomenal company. They have executed, they are efficient, their management team has made good decisions. Everything with CleanSpark is tremendous, but the reason for the run up in the stock price has more to do with the price of Bitcoin doing really well than anything the management team has done or will do. But I've said it on my channel before, I think it's dumb to own more than one Bitcoin mining stock. I would rather just find the Bitcoin mining stock that has the best execution, the best efficiency, the best innovation, the best foresight, the best management team, the best decision making, and I see CleanSpark as that company. That's why CleanSpark has been my preferred option. In saying this, don't hear what I'm not saying. I am not saying that other Bitcoin mining stocks are bad and you should not own them. CleanSpark is just my preferred option, and hopefully I can explain to you why that is in today's video. CleanSpark recently reported their first quarter financial results where they came in with revenue of basically $74 million and net income of $26 million. This is the first time a publicly traded Bitcoin mining company has reported a legit net income. This is thanks to some new accounting rules, but basically these companies, CleanSpark, Marathon, Riot, Bitfarms, you name it, they can now report any gain they see on the Bitcoin they hold as profit for the quarter. And this makes sense because Bitcoin is an investment and its fair value is changing constantly. So now these companies don't just have to report the impairment on their Bitcoin, they can also report the gain. I think this is a great change by the FASB. The FASB is the Financial Accounting Standards Board, if you're confused what that means. But also with this earnings report, the company announced that they had surpassed 12.5 exahash per second of computing power that is mining Bitcoin constantly. This is a big deal because they'd been stuck at 10 exahash per second for several months. So finally, we're starting to see some growth in the computing power at CleanSpark, and they're currently securing their path to 50 exahash per second. You'll see in my price target spreadsheet, by the year 2030, I have CleanSpark commanding 9% of the total Bitcoin network, which is a large number, but I think as these halving events happen, the less efficient miners are going to be flushed out, and companies like CleanSpark with very healthy balance sheets are going to be the companies that acquire those distressed assets, that acquire the infrastructure and grow their operations really, really fast. Part of this expansion was announced on February 6th when CleanSpark announced 2 new acquisitions, securing power and infrastructure to reach 20 exahash per second. CleanSpark historically has primarily operated in the state of Georgia, but they're acquiring 3 turnkey Bitcoin mining facilities in Mississippi for cash payment of basically $20 million. The purchase is expected to close within 21 days of February 6th, and the operating hash rate at the combined facilities will reach 2.5 basically exahash per second shortly after closing. And then they announced just a small additional expansion at their Dalton, Georgia site for a cash payment of $3.5 million. But by the time this expansion is complete, their Dalton, Georgia site, their facilities in Dalton, Georgia, will be operating at a hash rate of 2.5 basically exahash per second once running at full capacity. And this expansion update is a really big deal because as a result of these expansions, they have now secured all of the infrastructure and the miners that they need to reach 20 exahash per second during the first half of this year. And another key component of this is the company expects to pay for the acquisitions with cash on hand. So no further dilution for the expansion of the company at this point. And then they give a handy little table here breaking down their hash rate by location. In total, they have enough infrastructure to support 20 exahash per second. So in my price target spreadsheet, I have factored this in. It's a given at this point that CleanSpark will achieve 20 exahash per second sometime in the first half of 2024. And if you're curious about CleanSpark's full year expansion plans, you're in luck. They broke this down on their investor presentation. By the end of 2024, they expect to be at 32 exahash per second. And in 2025, at some point, maybe by the end of the year, they expect to be at 50 exahash per second. But again, it's important to realize that they only have the infrastructure right now to support 20 exahash per second. Any expansion beyond this 20 exahash per second will need additional infrastructure that the company will need to purchase with cash, so there could be some future dilution in store for shareholders. However, I will say CleanSpark has the cleanest balance sheet, probably the best balance sheet in the entire Bitcoin mining space. Another reason I choose CleanSpark over other Bitcoin mining companies. They have $62.5 million of cash and cash equivalents and $166 million of Bitcoin sitting on their balance sheet for total liquidity of $229 million. This compares to debt of $14.5 million. Honestly, if I was the company, if I was CleanSpark, I would pay off this $14.5 million of debt tomorrow. I mean, they have the cash on their balance sheet to do so, and this debt is just another expense that the company is having to pay for. Why pay for this interest? Because this interest rate is relatively high. You know, you have to realize that there aren't very many lenders in this space yet because Bitcoin remains very, very volatile. So there's not many assets that these companies can leverage safely that lenders are willing to lend against. So if I had one suggestion for the CleanSpark management team, it would be paying off this debt in full 100%. And the last note I'll make before we get into my price target spreadsheet is that today CleanSpark surpassed Riot platforms. CleanSpark's market cap is now $3.53 billion. And if I go to Riot stock, its market cap is $3.52 billion. If we're being honest, this probably should have happened a long time ago. CleanSpark has been the best operator. They're growing into the biggest operator pretty quickly, just behind Marathon Digital. And this is long overdue, and I expect CleanSpark to continue to grow very, very fast and their stock price to continue to climb as well as a result of that. But without further ado, let's get into my updated price target spreadsheet. And this time I actually made some drastic changes. Again, this is made available to my paid monthly members who support me and allow me to avoid all these crappy sponsorships that other YouTubers take. I tell it like it is. I'm not a financial advisor, but the people in the Discord server have made enough money over the last couple of years to cover the price of their membership for the rest of their lives and then some. Be sure you join, and again, if you don't find value, I will 100% refund you. It's completely risk-free to you. But here, let's start at the top of this spreadsheet. I actually didn't make any changes to this because I knew this was going to happen, right? I didn't doubt CleanSpark's execution like a lot of the market and Wall Street did. My projections have remained the same for a long time now, where pre-halving, I expect CleanSpark to hit 15 exahash per second. That seems to be right in line with what the company expects right now. And by the end of 2024, I have them reaching 33 exahash per second. I guess I'm a little high. They expect 32 exahash per second. And then by the end of 2025, I have them reaching 50 exahash per second, which is right in line with what they envision as well. But in addition to CleanSpark organically growing their Bitcoin mining operations, I expect them to command a larger percentage of the total Bitcoin mining network after this 2024 halving event takes place. You're going to see lots of miners flushed out, a lot of mining companies flushed out. These companies and individuals that can no longer mine Bitcoin at a profit because the reward for mining Bitcoin gets cut in half. We all know this, right? But I actually think that if CleanSpark grows to 33 exahash per second, that they could command 6.5% of the total network by the end of 2024. And then I have that growing slowly to around 9% by 2030. I also want to note here that this is an absolute bull case scenario for the price of Bitcoin, which makes it an absolute bull case scenario for CleanSpark. This is based on Cathie Wood's $1.5 million Bitcoin price prediction by the year 2030. People thought I was crazy when I first put together this spreadsheet when I said I think Bitcoin will trade at $50,000 by the time the halving happens. And then by the end of 2024, I see Bitcoin reaching $100,000. I see the price of Bitcoin appreciating every single year until 2030. Obviously, it's not going to be this simple. We're going to go through bear markets where this isn't going to be 100% accurate. But by the time the year 2030 hits, I have the price of Bitcoin reaching $1.5 million, which again is Cathie Wood's price prediction. Now, here's where I've made some significant changes to this spreadsheet. I have decreased CleanSpark's estimated costs dramatically. This is as a result of the Wall Street analyst reports that I've gotten access to. Special thanks to those Wall Street analysts that have sent me those. And this is also based on CleanSpark's operational history, where historically they have spent less money than I expected them to. For 2024, I have the company spending $400 million. This includes cost of revenue and this includes operating expenditures. By the year 2030, obviously that's going to go up as the company grows its Bitcoin mining operations. I have the company spending $2.25 billion in the year 2030. But as Bitcoin matures, I have the company's increase in costs every single year declining, meaning I think costs are going to keep going up, but I think they're going to go up less and less and less every single year. Based on my $100,000 Bitcoin price prediction for 2024, I have the company doing $684 million in revenue at $100,000 per Bitcoin. By the year 2030, I have that reaching close to $9 billion. And by the year 2030, I have the company's total balance reaching $81.5 billion. By the end of 2024, at a price of $100,000 per Bitcoin, I have the company's total balance valued at $850 million. So you can kind of see as the price of Bitcoin goes up, this is a snowball. It grows bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And CleanSpark could become an extremely big company. And you can see this in my price targets. However, I've made some significant changes here as well. Previously, I had the assumed recurring share dilution at 25%. I've lowered this to 10% as the stock price has increased. Think about it. Previously, CleanSpark was trading at $5 per share. If they sold 20 million shares, they would raise $100 million. But say CleanSpark trades at $20 per share. If they want to sell 20 million shares, they raise $400 million. So as the share price goes up, it means that the company has to dilute less and less and less to raise more money. And I will say, again, comparing my thoughts to these Wall Street reports that I've looked at, Wall Street actually sees even less dilution than I see. So just take these price targets and increase them a little bit if you think Wall Street's going to be more accurate than me when it comes to share price dilution. I've also decreased my PE multiples to 30, 40, and 50, which I think these are fair. If the price of Bitcoin goes exponentially higher between now and 2030, these companies are going to be trading at an extreme premium because the market is going to put a premium on not only their operations, but also their HODL balance. But for the sake of this spreadsheet, I have the PE multiple sitting at 40 by the year 2030. This year in 2024, so by the end of this year, I think the fair value for CleanSpark stock, if Bitcoin hits $100,000, is $43.71, which represents 146% upside from here. 146% upside in less than a year. That's kind of crazy. Now, if Cathie Wood's $1.5 million Bitcoin price prediction for the year 2030 comes true, I have the fair value for CleanSpark stock right now, and things will change. Obviously, it's hard to project things this far out in the future, but based on my numbers right now, I have the fair value for CleanSpark stock sitting at $528.75, which represents 2,900% return over the next 5 or 6 years. If this happens, there is a very good chance that not only CleanSpark, but the other Bitcoin mining companies as well will have ended up being the best stocks to own, the best stocks to buy right now in 2024. Now, it's probably important for me to note that you're going to start seeing a lot of these very bullish Bitcoin videos and videos on Bitcoin mining stocks. You'll probably see my channel and a lot of other YouTube channels start to blow up again. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm sitting close to 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. And let's learn from the past. When we reach euphoric levels in the markets, don't be scared to take profits. And that's another thing I want to mention right now. If you have been invested in CleanSpark stock and you really could use the money, do not hesitate to sell if you're at a huge profit right now. Do what's smartest for you. Make the best financial decision for yourself. Unfortunately, I don't know what that is, and I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't advise you on that. But it's a given that nobody watching this video has the same exact financial situation that I do. Everybody has a different situation. So relying on my thoughts and my opinions and my research and then basing your opinion on what I say is probably not a very smart idea. But again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit the like button down below for me and please join that membership. It means a lot to me. Also subscribe if you're new here or returning not yet subscribed. I love seeing all the new faces pop into the channel. Comment down below how many shares of CleanSpark you hold if you're comfortable sharing that. With that, have a great rest of your day. Stay blessed. Keep 10 toes to the ground and your chin up. Peace out.